Hello, my friends. My name is Gerardo Jerry Diaz, and proud to present to you a little bit of our legacy, my family history. Don Jose Pepe Diaz was my dad from Guadalajara, Jalisco, and my grandfather, Jose Valentin Sanchez Diaz. I am fourth generation Charro, and now my son Nicolas is fifth generation Charro. We could sit here and probably write a book and talk about the legacy of the charreria in itself, but my father, Don Jose Pepe Diaz, came to United States in the 40s after coming from Jalisco and training horses for the family and the president of Mexico, Lázaro Pancho Cárdenas family. A pioneer of the charreria here in the United States, bringing the dress code, the discipline, and the schooling of the horse that my father really embedded in my soul, that the horse has to be very well schooled, and it takes a very long time to school the horse. I want to talk a little bit today about that particular legacy of the Mexican dress for the horse, starting with the bozalillo. The bozalillo is a very beautiful handcrafted, I'm going to say a lighter, thinner bozal, and the word bozalillo means refine. And you'll notice some of these intricate little knots that's in here, and we try to keep the colors to match your saddle gear, the riendas, the reins, the chains. This is very, very Spanish, and it can be personalized. In this case, you can put your initials here. This is your breast collar, the cincho, the cinch, and you will notice the silver conchos on this particular saddle. This is montura cuadrada. It's personalized with my initials. You must have your cuarta to go along with your saddle, and your jorongo. Jorongo, also your sarape or pancho. This was used a lot as part of working out in the mountains, anywhere with cold days. You would use your sarape and put it on as a coat of some sort. This is called a nanquera. This is something was used hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And I used this as part of a legacy. My father used it. This is called anquera or naguilla at the same time. Beautiful. These are some little chains that hang on the end of the nanquera. It's used for several things. One, for training young horses to get used to things on the rump, on la grupa, which means the rump of the horse, and also to symbolize protection, to use for protection for roping wild cows and horses, bulls especially, out in the open field, to protect the horse from really getting hurt in any sort. And the mantilla that goes underneath the saddle to give it a dress code. The riata is a big part of the Mexican charro. He is known for his horsemanship, his being proud, a very man of faith, a man of a lot of family. And the riata, probably the Mexican maguey rope, probably one of the most dangerous ropes there is. It's being used today in the world. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about my legacy as a little boy. Ever since I was a little boy, my father would get up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to work horses, and we didn't have a fancy barn or covered arenas or anything like that. And I remember my mother getting up early in the morning and cooking taquitos for my father, and my dad getting up. And at that time, my father, Don Pepe, would get up early in the morning and work horses, and there I would get up and follow my dad before it was time to go to school. And when it was cold, he'd build me a little fire, and I would sit around that little fire to stay warm. But I've never known another horseman like my father. Very traditional. He learned the legacy of training horses, starting with the bozal, then taking the horse and using the bozal with the bit for a long time, and then finishing the horse to the freno, which is the one-hand bridle like this horse is dressed today. As a little boy, I used to like to sing. And my mom taught me to sing Gavino Barrera, is an old song of the Revolution. And I learned to sing that song, and I learned to florear the soga, the rope. And when friends would come over to the ranch, my dad would ask me to perform for them. And as a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, here I would come out with my horse Pegaso, singing Gavino Barrera, and spinning the rope and spinning my horse and making them dance. And then I would take my hat off and I would pass it around for any donations. And as a little boy, big inspiration to me was that I love to perform ever since I was a kid, and I am blessed today. I've had the opportunity to perform at the Olympics. We've performed at the Economic Summit for 7 world leaders. I was proud to perform for Mr. George Bush and Barbara Bush during their time. What an honor for myself to carry on the legacy of the Charro. And it went worldwide when we made the front page with President George Bush. And I believe that's when my name went out there and everybody around the world read about Jerry Diaz as a Charro performing for the Economic Summit in Houston, Texas. Since I've been going to the National Western Stock Show and Rodeo since 1984, I remember going the very first time with a borrowed truck and trailer, and I would stay in the back of my trailer, and I would tell people that I was staying at a hotel downtown Denver, Colorado, and I was lying. I wasn't doing that. But I was so proud. I took one horse by the name of Valentin, 1 rope, 1 outfit, 1 hat. There was 28 performances back to back. At the time, the general manager was Mr. Chuck Sylvester, and I needed a place to shower and get dressed and everything. And I would get up early and bring coffee and taquitos to the people that worked there in the building, and that would let me go to one of the dressing rooms, and I would take a shower in there. I was so proud to perform at the National Western Stock Show, and it's been a legacy since. Last year I celebrated my 28th Mexican Rodeo Extravaganza, which I created along with the National Western Stock Show and Rodeo. Something that's become a beautiful legacy at Denver. The Mexican Rodeo Extravaganza is probably one of the most colorful shows there is at the National Western Stock Show. Very proud to produce and direct it, and it couldn't happen with all the charros and the charras and the scaramuza riders and mariachi there in Denver. But when we first started, we started bringing people from the outside. We used to bring people from Mexico and California and a lot of people from San Antonio as well. So the legacy goes on, and very proud of it. Thank you, people, for coming out to the National Western Stock Show and Rodeo. The National Western Stock Show and Rodeo is about education, about our youth for tomorrow, and giving scholarships to our young boys and girls, and for them to continue the education. Thanks for listening a little bit to Jerry Diaz today on the Charro tradition, the legacy, and in my case, 4 generations, and my son, 5th generation. As a family, the Diaz family continues to perform with their animals, their heritage, their culture, but most important, as a family. I spoke a little bit about the Mexican maguey rope. This is a true Mexican maguey rope. This rope is about 70 feet long. It's made out of the cactus plant that grows only in Mexico, maguey plant. The fiber of the plant is taken, and this is what it looks like. And they take this and they twist it. In this case, this rope, once you carry the coils and you drop a loop around the horn after roping an animal, that animal's not looking back, and it's real easy for them to cut one of your fingers off. This is the way the coils go side by side. They have to go very even, as you can see. And this is a very stiff rope. They're very sensitive to heat. I have to put it out in the sun to get it to the feel that I like. I like my ropes to be not really soft and not really hard, just right. But if we was to get a coil come in my hand like this, and my hand get caught in the horn, be very dangerous. As I mentioned earlier that the maguey rope is probably the most difficult rope to maneuver in the world. And I've roped with different kinds of ropes. I've roped with the poly, the cotton rope, even the rawhide. And I'm fixing to show you the end of the eye of this rope. It's made out of rawhide. And here you can see it. This is made out of rawhide. And look at the braiding of the artistic in the work behind this. This is made so that once you do loop something, it comes off really quick. It doesn't get caught. So if I catch one leg, it can come off really easy. And later on, I'm going to demonstrate a little bit about how you put the coils in your hand while you rope with the other hand and how it works around this horn here. So as you will see, this is a new tree, and we will demonstrate today how we're going to put the rope, the maguey rope, and have it burn through this mesquite. This tree is made out of mesquite, and it's covered with goat hide. So it's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Let's go to the video.
Tienes el alma de provinciana, hueles a limpia rosa temprana. Madre de cara, fresca del río, son mis palomas, tu caserío. Guadalajara, Guadalajara, hueles a pura tierra mojada. Hacen una oferta dulce de pache para la birria junto al mariachi. En los pareales y alfarerías suenan con triste melancolía.
In behalf of the Diaz family, Gerardo, Stacy, and Nicolas, we want to thank you for joining us. You can find us on Facebook, Charro Jerry Diaz, or our website, charrojerrydiaz.com.